Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TripleJump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Hey, guys, how we doing?
All right.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Woo.
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 Yeah.
Can't wait to go.
We got through all the video games. No quipscopes this week.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Lively.
That's the first time in
Could
a
they
while.
not have waited a week on one of those games and just allowed us to put
Could
it
they
out?
not?
No, could they not?
Could they not have waited?
No.
I mean, Pokemon Shining Diamond, Brilliant Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Yeah.
Whichever combination. We haven't covered that.
No.
So, I mean, it's still time.
It's true.
Hit us up, Nintendo, we'll make a quip scope. But it's just been crazy with all the video games. And now it's starting to wind down a little. As we said at the beginning, I feel like maybe at the beginning of last week's show, we've got a Halo Infinite's campaign coming out at the beginning of next month. And then that's kind of us done until the end of the year. And then it all just goes crazy again. February's going to be
Mad.
something, isn't it?
Busy.
It's going to be something. This is our video game podcast. Each and every week we're sponsored by a very real video game adjacent sponsor. This week, Peter has the ad read in front of him.
Yes, I do. We have been sponsored this week by a brand new cattle farm and abattoir that has been opened up by
Interesting.
I don't know why it's video game adjacent. It's owned by Jeffrey PlayStation.
Jeffrey PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Ken Kutaragi. Come on.
No, Jeffrey PlayStation. That's his name.
My uncle works at PlayStation. He's called Jeffrey PlayStation.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to have a nice burger, a nice steak? Oh, I hope not too many people want to have a nice burger, a nice steak, because then there might not be enough to go around. Don't worry, because the new PlayStation or Xbox, it's a multi-platform farm, has lots of land available for you to get those delicious cows. Coming now, cattle field, plenty for your stew. Cattle field, plenty for your stew.
That's really good. That is very good. It took me a minute not to figure out what the what this was
Just
in
to figure out
reference
whether
to,
it was good
but
or terrible.
just to have a second when my brain kind of took that in. That's very good.
It was a bit like that Fast and Furious film, where they're trying to hijack the plane that's taking off and it's got the runway that just goes on forever.
on.
It just doesn't end. Yeah, it was a bit like that.
Yeah, it didn't
But
take off until...
It actually took off at the end.
Eventually.
Yeah. That was very good.
I can't wait to have
Cattle
field
plenty for
my
your
stew.
stew.
Okay.
Yeah.
My stew or your stew?
Your stew.
You're always offering other people's stew.
Yeah.
Right. So if you buy some and they say, "Oh, what is it?" "Oh, it's cattle field plenty
No,
for..."
not a bison, a cow.
Oh my God, tell me it's fake.
I think in order to correctly rhyme with 2042, it needs to be plenty for ye stew. It's like a medieval cow
Or
farm.
pirates.
Plenty for ye stew. It's not real.
Oh, beans.
wow.
I can't believe
Shocking.
it.
It's a lie.
That is a lie. We are, of course, sponsored by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com /
Jesus, that was full. I didn't even... It was flat and it went on me somehow. It was, Christ.
Sipped Pepsi Max down his chest.
That was really, really brimming. Sorry, continue.
Patreon.com / Team TripleJump, where for as little as $1 per month, you can submit questions to this podcast. This podcast right here. We have all sorts of other tiers available, lots of rewards, and you'd be supporting us directly. So please consider going there. Thank you so much.
We've also got another sponsor. It's all right, Peter. You take a minute to process this.
Yeah.
Well, technically it's a sponsor, but you should definitely go and do it. That's follow our Facebook page.
Sorry?
Follow the Facebook page.
Follow the Facebook
Follow
page.
the Facebook page. Maybe.
What's the Facebook page's link? URL. Web address. Ashton, do you know it? Pretty simple.
Facebook.com/Team TripleJump.
Yeah, everything is /Team TripleJump. Go give us a follow, please.
I appreciate the fact that you had to look at the second page.
We're creeping ever closer to 10,000. You'd be
sure.
doing us a gigantic favor.
You would.
As soon as we hit 10,000, we can monetize our Facebook content. We can pay James because we haven't been doing that for how long has he worked for us?
Longer than I have.
2 years. It's at least 2
More
years,
than
isn't
that.
it? Yeah, two years and a few months, probably thereabouts. So please consider allowing us to pay James. You don't even have to. Let's be real. Don't have to interact with any of the posts. You can mute the page immediately. Just as long as the numbers hit that goal, Facebook then goes, "Oh, excellent. You are now a channel of caliber.
You matter.
And substance. You matter to us." And then we can make some more money from, the idiots that use Facebook.
Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird that we are a quote unquote real company entity that produces actual content, puts work in, has loads of staff, loads of man or woman hours, and yet we can't yet be monetized on Facebook. But the likes of, even though you stabbed my nan, I still love you. Do you remember that Facebook page that had 12 million?
No, I don't remember that Facebook page.
But even though
What are
you
you
stabbed
talking
my
about?
nan, I still love you and I can't wait to marry you or something.
Wow.
It turned into a meme reposting page. It was quite a famous kind of flip posting account.
Right.
But, that probably makes loads and loads of money.
Yeah.
And we're not yet
Almost
making
certainly.
any money at all.
And several of our videos have been featured on those big video game Facebook pages where they sort of repost other people's stuff with captions, or they edit out all of the face cam, which is what Gaming Bible did to one of our videos.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, "Can we use you on one of your videos?" Yeah, sure. And then they just really badly cropped it so that the face cam was hardly visible at all.
I think there was a tiny little sliver
they
of
couldn't
it.
get rid of it. So clearly our content's good enough for Facebook,
Just not our faces, ironically.
but we need
That
to
might
get
be
to
the
10,000 followers.
Could be the problem, yes.
So please do consider getting everyone to do that. Anyway, we should move on
should.
to our first question.
I've got a question here from Danielle Murray. He says, "Hello, Bap. Me and my husband have just finished It Takes Two.
Hope you're married.
And it's now left a hole in our lives as we try to decide what to play next. Do you have any recommendations for good co-op games? Preferably ones that don't cause arguments that could possibly end our marriage." I quite like the idea that It Takes Two didn't end your marriage. That's a good thing. But
They both bonded over the fact that they hated the elephant.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe
Stupid
it almost
elephant.
ended their marriage in the middle, but then when it came to the end, they were like, "Well, maybe we'll stay
It's a
together."
magic
We're not as bad as
book.
this terrible couple, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
probably worth staying
Our
together.
child's not tried to run away from home.
They say we tried to play Destiny together and it did not end well. And then there was an emoji there, but it's now just been replaced by a square.
Oh, I love that when that
Well,
happens.
it's weird
yeah.
because it's in the Word document, it works fine, but as soon as you print it out, it's just.
Well,
puts
we
a
don't have
square
the
there.
best print.
It's a little heart.
Ah, okay. Thank you and love to all three of you. Kiss, kiss.
Keys. Thank you,
Keys,
Danielle.
I skim read this question at first and wrote It Takes Two. And then I read it properly.
I mean, we do cover co-op games from time to time. I've just written in all caps 8 games that I usually mention.
yeah. And then I read it again. I was like, okay, well, maybe they don't want to play that one because they already have. Semi-co-op, certainly multiplayer, Dark Pictures Anthology. Those games are... I don't think they're the kind of thing where we fall out with each other because, again, you hate the people on screen that much.
Ashton hates them more, though.
Yeah. Well,
I
she
will
wants
kill
to.
them all.
Hey, Ashton, ease up. He can't breathe, man. So it's worth playing those. There's several of those to go at now, and you know that you've got, at least one more coming. They're calling it season 1 as well, so you've got to imagine there's probably at least 5
We're going to be
more
getting
coming.
nearly a decade's worth of these games,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is just bonkers, isn't it?
Buzz him.
Going back a little bit, Portal 2, I think, is a really fun co-op game. It truly feels like a co-op game in that you both really have to contribute, and sometimes you're doing your own thing, you're not doing the same thing. Some co-op games, you're playing together, but you're both just shooting the same big group of enemies or whatever. But Portal 2, sometimes you're in different rooms and stuff, and you really have to talk to each other and time things right.
And there's loads of DLC, like downloadable maps that people have
Yeah,
made. So
that's true,
it
actually.
can go on forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
And the third one I thought is worth a go is Sackboy: A Big Adventure. We had fun playing that on stream, didn't we?
Delightful.
Yeah.
Very lovely
A
game.
lot of fun.
I've never played through a Sackboy game fully. I've only really
Yeah.
Little
played
Big
it for like a
Planet's
couple of
Little Big
hours.
Planet.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Not so much 3, but 1 and 2.
So those are my suggestions for games that don't just involve shooting at people, because I've never played Borderlands co-op and or Far Cry. I know Ben's having fun with glitchy Far Cry.
Oh, yeah. So much fun.
Me too.
So there's some non-shooty ones for you.
Depending on your setup, I had a couple of suggestions. There's Unravel 2, which is co-op. And I went for games that I've played on PC, but they require a second screen. One of them is on PlayStation as well, and I think it's cross-platform. So if you've got a PC and a PlayStation, you can play it. That's Operation Tango. I think it was a PlayStation Plus game a couple of months ago.
It was,
And it's a spy game that requires 2 monitors. One of you plays as like the tech guy, and one of you plays as the kind of field agent. And you have to help each other out and solve like the story. It's quite good actually. We really enjoyed it. And also the We Were Here series.
It's literally what I was just Googling. I just searched walkie-talkie video
There's
game.
We Were Here 2, We Were Here Together, and then there's another one I think that's just come out. I've played the first We Were Here, really enjoyed it. And again, if you've got 2 computers and you can play it together, then I suggest it because it's quite a lot of fun.
I really like that one.
Yeah. Do you know the We Were Here series?
I'm like vaguely aware. I've never played any of them.
Yeah.
Have you, Ben? I know you were Googling
Yes,
it.
I played
You
the
just couldn't remember the name
first
of it.
one earlier
Yeah.
this year. It's great. It's basically just an escape room
Yeah.
with one of you in a different room. You just need to talk each other through what you can see and
It might not, it definitely will cause arguments, as will Operation Tango, but you'll have fun doing it anyway.
Well, similarly, a game that I really enjoy playing with other people, well, you have to play with other people, is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Yeah.
But that
good.
also, it could feasibly cause marriage-ending arguments. I
Yeah.
think. It's a very stressful situation, but
Well,
it's
everyone-
a really fun game.
not everyone has access to Bomb Boss
That's true.
for assistance. So
There was a level in Operation Tango, like kind of towards the end, where suddenly it made my character, who was the field agent, do a bunch of like stuff on computers and do the thing that like Ben had been doing, my Ben, the whole time. And I was like, I don't understand this. I don't get it. And he was trying to explain to me what I had to do next. I was like, I don't get it. So I just brute forced my way through to try and figure it out. But it was quite fun. I was getting quite stressed and sweaty because it was during like the hottest part of the year as well. So I was like, I'm sweating and I don't understand what you're trying to ask me to do here. But it's fun. So, Ben. Sorry. My voice just didn't come out then. My apologies.
so these suggestions are based entirely on, they depend entirely upon what your setup is. If you have 2 consoles, if you have two TVs, a lot of these games are split screen. Some of them aren't. So Borderlands, any of them.
Yeah.
A Way Out, Trine,
No Way Out, yeah. Try.
Minecraft,
Trying's a good show.
Journey to the Savage Planet,
Oh, yeah.
Far Cry 5 or 6, Wolfenstein Youngblood. If you want to struggle through that, it's got to be pretty cheap now. Or for any questions you might have about whether games are co-op or how co-op they are, go to cooptimus.com. That's CO-Optimus, OPTIMUS. If you Google Co-Optimus, you'll find it. In any game you could possibly imagine, it's got a really, really simple, easy to read breakdown of different platforms. If it's couch co-op, if it's online only, what the co-op consists of, if it's the whole campaign or if it's a separate mode or just specific missions or whatever. So that's a really, really useful website for finding out what games allow you to play locally or online or even have co-op. So I would recommend going there. It's a really useful guide.
Is it Resi 5 and 6 that are co-op as well?
Yes, they are. The best Resident Evil games.
Indeed. Yeah.
I don't know. They are split screen. They are split screen, I think.
I
Co-op
think
those
so,
two.
yeah.
It's one of those really ugly, awkward ones where you lose half the screen because they put someone in the top left and someone in the bottom
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And you
right.
kind of
It's
overlap
not-
each
I
other.
see.
I think. I can't quite remember, but I believe they're co-op split screen. Maybe. But Co-Optimus. You should go there.
Well, should we move on to a brand new section?
We've never done before.
Never done it before.
Never done it before.
We might never do it again as well.
Why?
We'll see. Just find out next week. It's called What We Playin.
It's What We Playin time. Time to talk about what we've been playing. Peter,
Yep.
what have we've been playing? Brackets.
Me've.
Me.
What have you been playing? I have been playing all week Grand Theft Auto 3, the definitive edition.
Oh boy. Based on your Twitter, it's been going well.
Yeah.
It's been going really well. So those of you who listen regularly to the podcast will know that I'm halfway through God of War as well. My PlayStation Plus ran out a couple of weeks ago, and I was playing on the PlayStation Collection. I don't actually own the game. I cancelled auto renew, and I will renew it and finish that game. But going off the rumored games that are coming out next month, I'm not particularly interested.
But you can get it Black Friday deals, so you can get it cheaper.
Could do
for
that.
months.
Or I could.
Or you could just not.
lend it to you on disc.
But
Well, you could do that as well. But I
Yeah.
mean, when
What Peter's trying to say is that he's enjoying GTA so much,
Yeah.
But he
that
didn't want to
doesn't
play
have
God
time
of
for
War.
God of War right now.
But he didn't want to just say that because we all know GTA it is trash.
Well, I mean, we
Trash
joke and jest, but there's like a degree of that. If I was not enjoying GTA 3, number one, I wouldn't have been playing it all week, and number two, I would have just said, well, I'm gonna buy Plus either this month or next month or the month after, so I'll just buy it a year of it and do it now and play God of War. So, but despite all of the terrible, inexcusable bugs and just like rubbish visuals and stuff, I am actually still really enjoying playing GTA 3, and I don't really know why. There's got to be a huge nostalgia factor to it, I think. Like, if I'd not played that game before, I'd be like, what on earth is this? You know, this is dreadful. That is not, though, a recommendation. I not only stick to my previous, one-line review or summary of don't play this game unless you've already played it, but I double down on that and say maybe don't even play this game if you have played it before. If you really, really want to go back and revisit it and you want the convenience of it just being on your PS5, then maybe consider it, and you can buy all three in one go, and that's handy. And if you're fortunate enough to work for TripleJump, you don't have to pay for it either, so that's good.
I don't.
No.
Ah.
Well, you probably would have to at this point, I'm afraid.
It's a Peter
So you
says.
basically just lied to us, is what you did there.
There is another alternative, though. GTA 3 specifically will be going on PlayStation Now.
It will.
In early December. I think it's the 9th of December.
It's when the physicals come out, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to just play that, then you can buy a month of
What,
PlayStation
the
Now. Or
original or the new one?
the new one.
The new,
Oh,
the
yeah, because
definitive.
you can't play the originals anymore. You can't buy
They
them.
took them down. Yeah.
They took them off everything.
If you already own them, you can get them. But San Andreas, I believe, is going on Gamepass.
Gamepass.
Yeah.
3 is going on PlayStation
I don't think
Now.
Vice City's going anywhere.
And Vice City is just sort of not going
Yeah.
anywhere
They were
at
like,
all.
eh.
Bit weird that I think that they split them up like that. I think that's
It
kind of
is.
strange.
It is really weird. I don't know the rhyme or the reason for it, but yeah, if you want to play GTA 3 I think you can get a free trial for now, and I imagine a lot of people have never tried PlayStation Now, so just use your free trial to give it a go.
They did bring back the originals for, I think, just the PC launcher. So in response to people being so mad at this game, they brought back the originals, but I think only on PC. That might not be right, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you can only get them on PC. But yeah, I've had all kinds of like strange, interesting glitches. I've seen a hovering van now, which people had reported quite a lot. Incidentally, I've had some replies to the various tweets I've put out over the past week with clips of my glitches. People saying, oh, have they patched it yet? Or have you tried downloading the patch? Yes, all of those clips happened after I downloaded the patch. In fact, I read the patch notes on the day that they released it, and one of the things it was supposed to fix was hovering vehicles. And I thought, oh, I've never even seen a hovering vehicle. That's weird. Downloaded the patch, and then I saw one. So that was fun. One of the big things as well, the patch was supposed to fix was the invisible bridge in San Andreas. Loads of people are still seeing that. So
Or not seeing that, I guess.
Well, not seeing that, in fact. Yeah, you're right. So I've had that. I've had like leaf textures that are supposed to be flat on the ground, just up at an angle in the sky. I've had like cutscenes, people walking into cutscenes like Assassin's Creed.
I always love that.
It's my favorite.
It's very good. And then I had that really weird one from a couple of nights ago, time of recording, where
Claude addressed you by name.
yes, he's not supposed to speak at all. Peter. I was finishing the Portland missions, about to move on to Staunton Island, the second island of the game. And I think I should say, actually, I think that's one of the things that's keeping me going, is that there's a progression to that game where you unlock new stuff and new areas. And I think that's enough to make me think, oh, well, I'll keep going until I get to the next area. And so that's probably one thing. But I was finishing off the last Portland mission where you get onto a boat. The cutscene ran and cutscene finished. I'm on the boat. The two people who are supposed to be on the boat with me, one of them is falling through the sky, but just sort of on the back of the boat, waving her arms. And I thought, oh, that's weird. I'll get a closer look at that. So I press triangle to get off the boat steering wheel. And as soon as I leave the boat, the other person who's with me pulls out an Uzi and starts shooting me. And it's just Maria, who's like the girlfriend of the Don of the Mafia. I didn't even know she carried a piece, but apparently she does. And she wanted to kill me instantly. So that was fun. So yeah, lots of glitches. But for some...
Hello?
Spooky noise.
What just unplugged from our PC?
I don't know.
And why is it even making noise? It shouldn't be making noise. Why is it not muted?
There. I don't know. But yeah, for some reason I'm enjoying it. I guess in a way, in the same way that you've been enjoying Far Cry. I know that was, you're saying play that with a friend so you can enjoy the glitches together. But that aside, I'm just sort of you never quite know what's going to happen. And the traffic is all over the place. I am absolutely certain now that they have done something to mess with the driving AI so that everyone else in the city is just gridlocking themselves onto every single crossroads. When they're in the distance and they've only just spawned in, they are going at about 90 miles an hour. And then when they get closer, they suddenly slow down. And I think that's why they're having accidents. And like, as I get up to them, it's because like, one NPC has seen someone else driving at them at like 100 miles an hour and doesn't know what to do about it, and that's why they're all just piling up. But yeah, it's interesting just driving around that world and seeing what happens next. So I think that's what's keeping me entertained.
It's shocking to me that they're still promoting it. I'm still seeing like sponsored tweets and stuff from Rockstar saying the definitive, despite the fact that they have now publicly acknowledged that this is not acceptable.
They have, yeah.
They're still advertising it as if it's the best thing, like the definitive
how else are they going to
edition.
make their money? They can say it's bad, but they want people who don't know it's bad yet
It's
to buy it.
It's so unbelievable. It was totally believable, sadly. But yeah, I'm hoping it'll be sorted by Christmas because I might get the physical edition perhaps around that time. But I'm also hoping it gets massively reduced very quickly.
Yeah.
Because this isn't good, and it was kind of pricey anyway.
Yes. So that's all I've been playing. I played that nearly every night this week, and weirdly enjoying it in a kind of Stockholm Syndrome kind of way. I think. So, Ashton, what have you been playing?
I was going to play some more Call of Duty Vanguard, but I uninstalled that off my PlayStation, and I refused to add to their player numbers because screw them and everything that they stand for, and I hate them, and I will never play that game again.
A real piece of crap.
So I uninstalled that game. Ben.
Whoa.
Just joking. I mean, it's fine, but I just didn't want to be part of that anymore. But all I have played this week, it's like I'm fixated. It's literally all I can think about when I get home is I just want to play this game, and I just keep sitting and playing it for hours. It's Far Cry 6. I just keep...
I thought you were going to say unpacking.
I just keep playing it. Like I get home and I'm like, just want to play Far Cry 6. Sunday I was at home all day on my own. I just played Far Cry 6 for like 7 hours. And then I realized it was the evening, and I was like, what has happened?
Oh my God.
And I didn't even play it with someone most of the time this week. I've played it on my own.
What is wrong with the two of us playing these broken games?
Like, it's so like bland as a game.
It is. It has no flavor.
It's so bland.
There's no spice.
There's no spice, no seasoning. It's bland.
Far Cry porridge.
But I just can't help myself. I just want to drive around, and I want to kill people, and I just want to just play the game.
Yeah.
And I realized yesterday when I was playing it, I was like, I have done nothing else this week apart from play Far Cry 6. I mean, I had a couple of days where I just watched Christmas movies. So, I mean, that I didn't play any games. I just watched Christmas movies. But I just played Far Cry 6 all week.
I know the feeling though, like I'm nearly 30 now, but in exactly the same mentality as when I've played the original. Sometimes I will see a fast car and I will hijack it just so I can drive around in the fast car for a bit.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm like, oh, there's a sports car there and I have that. And I'll just like drive. And then I'll be like, okay, better do some missions now. But
yeah. I'm just going out of my way to like I'm like going out of my way to collect vehicles to take them to the vehicle pickup point just so I have them, knowing full well I will never drive that car again because it's too slow or it's annoying. I'll drive the flying car or I'll drive my car with a gun on the top. I just keep playing it. And then I'm like, why am I playing this? I don't know. And I just carry on. Like I'm having a good time. But like it's like my brain turns off and I'm just playing the game. Maybe I'm just like it's like hypnotizing me. Maybe that's what's going on.
yeah.
I think it's easy to fall into
But I'm having a good time.
it's sort of a gaming cycle. You know, if it's comfort food and there's always a learning curve when you start playing a new game.
Yeah.
It often is off-putting to the point that you would rather stay with a game that you know how to play. And once you do get very familiar and comfortable with the game, it's sometimes hard to pull yourself away. So that might be it.
Yeah.
You know how it works.
I have lots of other games that are on my like to play list, and I've got them in physical copies on my shelf. I just don't want to play them. I just want to play Far Cry. I don't know what's wrong with me. This has happened. If I didn't have this job and I didn't kind of have to talk about the fact that I'm playing a game every week, I probably wouldn't even think twice about it. Like I played through God of War in the space of like 3 days. When I broke my leg, I just played that solidly for like a week. And I didn't think anything of it. And I played Horizon for like 3 weeks straight or whatever. And I didn't think anything of it because that's how I played the game. And now I come in every week and I'm like, damn, I can keep playing the same game every week. But, you know, I'm okay with it. That's just how my brain works.
It's unusual though for us to on what we play in to just say play more of that again this week. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. Still playing it.
I mean, you with Orcs Must Die 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, what have you played, Ben?
I've played because I'm a giant, horrible, awful person.
Because you're pro-sexism.
Because I'm pro-sexism. I played through the Call of Duty Vanguard campaign. I finished that. It was
What do you think
good.
of the plane bit?
The worst thing I've ever played.
The worst.
It was so bad. The worst flight controls in a game I've ever played.
And it has
felt
you-
like you're flying through treacle.
And it has you dive bombing a thing that's just shooting directly up at you and going,
it's-
avoid the bullets. How? They're shooting at me.
It's rubbish. Like it's so. Unfortunately, there's only one flying section. But I couldn't believe how bad it was. Every time, and this, I don't know if it's realistic. I'm not going to fly a World War II fighter bomber. It's not a jet plane. But you press like a direction, and then a second later, the plane will move in that direction. It's like this feels awful to fly. This is rubbish. And I texted my friend saying, "Oh, the Call of Duty campaign's all right so far," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've been meaning to get back into that." And then I finished the mission, and I said, never mind, it's got the world's worst flying mission. And then a bit later on that day, he messaged me and said, yeah, that was awful.
Well, there's a trophy to do that flying mission without getting hit once.
That's bonkers.
Which is just
impossible.
impossible.
Rubbish. But the rest of the campaign was okay. I like the diverse cast. Certainly some members were more interesting than others. I think Paulina was the best character to play as easily. But yeah, you know, it's a Call of Duty campaign. I enjoy them. I think they are just that popcorn munching, exploding corridor that you run down. Like I enjoy them. Beyond that, I played some more Far Cry 6.
Yeah.
And I got the Platinum in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, I did
finally.
see
I
that.
just needed to do a replay up to like chapter 13 to do some collectibles, or I think it was that chapter anyway. There were just a few collectibles that I missed. It was the costumes mainly, because there's no trophy
I
for
missed
getting
loads of costumes.
all of the collectibles, but there is a trophy for getting all of the costumes. So I had to go get the last costume I needed. But yeah, great game. Was immediately tempted to install the PS4 version because it has 2 trophy lists.
Right.
And I thought maybe I'll just go around again. Maybe I'll just go around again. But I didn't in the end. And I'm wondering what I should play next. Like what single player game I've been putting off that I haven't started yet. So I'm going to have to think on that. Make a decision. But that is all I've been playing.
Will you be playing the Pocket Monsters?
No.
No.
I'm not nostalgic for the DS
Pokemon
games at all. So
Yeah.
I'm not overly arsed personally. But I would. But I'm not going to buy it. If
I ain't
what you're
spending
asking.
it on
I ain't
it.
spending any money on it. If Nintendo sent it to us, I would obviously cover it. But yeah, I'm not overly fussed.
We've got a week or so till the Halo campaign comes out.
I do.
So you could always.
I can spend that next week setting up my Series S that's been in a box in the
Good.
corner
You
of the
get
room.
it out.
Yeah, I could dust it off, put it back in the box, and take it out again.
I've heard the
That's
multiplayer
fine.
is pretty good. Some people are saying it's
Yeah.
like the best Halo multiplayer ever.
I've heard good things. I'm not interested in the multiplayer at all. I'll be
No.
honest, but certainly the campaign I'd be interested in giving a go. If I'd really planned it out, I might have been able to play through the previous Halo games in advance of this one, but I didn't. So we'll be hopping in blind. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure that'll be. It kind of needs to be good.
Yeah, it does.
At a base level, it will be good because it has to be. Whether or not it'll be excellent, sort of world-beating, what everyone's been hyping it up to be, remains to be seen.
And it's meant to hark back to the original trilogy a bit more than the past couple of games have. So even I'm a little bit tempted, but then I've talked before about how I don't like going into series without all prior knowledge. So I would have to force myself to play 5. I did actually play 4 when it came out, but that's what turned me off playing 5.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I would probably just watch a video of 4 online to refresh my memory and maybe play 5. But yeah. it's
Also,
tempting.
Death's Door came out this week. The roguelike with the
Oh,
little
yeah.
bird.
Yeah. Kieran's been playing it, I think.
Kieran's been playing it.
Yeah,
So it's quite good.
there's like an indie game that's come out recently. It might be that one that I've heard a lot of people talking about. I can't
It's the
remember name of it.
Devolver one with the little like crow that's.
Oh yeah. I remember
that-
that.
yeah.
I remember that being shown. I'm not sure if that's the one that I'm thinking of now. Someone was talking about it on a podcast. I can't remember. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games out at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to
Let's have a
question two.
question too.
Yeah.
This comes from Quetzal Angel.
Quetzal.
Quetzal.
There was a what's it called? Accent
Oh, yeah.
on one of the letters in this name, but it's
Okay.
not come over. So maybe I did it right and just British.
It might be Angel.
but
also,
you know.
I'm pretty sure Solo Quetzal
Quetzal.
on Twitter in brackets says the U is silent on their Twitter name.
Okay.
Quetzal.
So it's Quetzal,
Quetzal. Okay.
I think.
Okay. Well, this is the question.
The question, I think. You know.
Hello, Ash Ben Pet.
Hello.
What is a mechanic from a game that you think didn't reach its full potential or that could fit in another game? P.S. I hope Ashton was able to see the fireworks you mentioned a few weeks ago. I saw them from a car. I just saw as I was driving there was fireworks. So I did see some fireworks.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you. I did. That wasn't originally going to be my question. So I didn't. I don't know.
Ashton picked the questions about herself.
Yeah, that was intentional.
and then read them.
Yeah, I think so. No, it wasn't. To give an answer that was part of my answer for question 1, actually, I thought the Portal 2 Goop was quite fun.
Gloop.
The Gloop.
Gloop.
And I'd like to see more Gloop mechanics. I know Splatoon exists, but that's just for scoring points, isn't it?
It's a big boot cake simulator.
It's a big book cake simulator. But yeah, my understanding is it mostly just you want to cover as much of the level as possible and you score points. But I'd like to see more games with Goop that has effects and you have to like get it onto certain surfaces for puzzling because you know that only came in sort of maybe about halfway through Portal 2, I think, something like that. And there's got to be just so much untapped potential for that. I just want to see more and more. But also, I think that the pawn system that's AWN. Jesus, didn't say that. I wrote that down and didn't.
Pawn
The
system.
pawn system
I
from
think there should be
Pawn
more
Simulator.
porn in the game.
The pawn simulator from Dragon's Dogma, not simulator, system was quite a lot of fun. So that, for those who don't know, in Dragon's Dogma, it's a fantasy RPG, third-person hack and slash thing, where you create your own character, who is a silent protagonist, which I didn't like. And then you also create a pawn, who is a little sidekick, and you use the same character creation system to make them. And then there's this weird kind of ethereal realm that you can enter by going through a portal. And as you stand there, just all of these different characters will be walking around you. And that's other players' pawns that they have made. And you can have a party of up to 4 characters, including yourself. So you bring on other people's pawns and they come and play in your game, and your pawn can be used by other people. They don't get taken away from you. So everyone always actually still has their own pawn, but you can also have them on your team. And they'll like bring gift back. Like if someone's used your pawn, when you log into the game next, they'll say, oh, hey, this player says thanks. They give you like probably a rotten fish, because everyone just gives a bit of trash. But that I felt was interesting in the game didn't have multiplayer, but it did have this kind of strange connection. I guess in a sense, a bit like, the Dark Souls games have, I know you can play them in a true multiplayer sense, but they also have just sort of hints of like other people have been here and you can leave those messages and stuff. Yeah. I quite like that kind of half multiplayer or that shared world without actually necessarily playing with other people. And I think something like that, but perhaps with a much wackier character creation system, even in something like Saints Row or, something that takes itself less seriously. I'd like to see really weird looking characters. I want to walk into that like ethereal plane and have like Wallace walk out at me, or like, just someone with like a giant head, or, just the weirdest possible characters. So I think something like the pawn system, but perhaps in a much sillier game, could be really entertaining. And you just create this party of strange characters. Because I think it would be nice to not just come up with your own abominations, but to be surprised by other people's. Yeah. And you just walk in there, wait for people to walk out of the mist at you and go, yes, you. I want you in my party. Mm-hmm. So I think that system should be in more games.
I really liked the fast travel mechanic in Borderlands 3. I thought that you could like the fact that the way Borderlands is obviously the separate areas and separate maps. I really liked that you could just like fast travel from one end to where your car was, or where your car was to the other end of the map if that's going to be convenient for you. And I really liked the fact that you could fast travel to different areas from within the map itself, that you could go to a completely different map/world from within the map. And I don't really know what other games it could work in, but I just really enjoyed the way that worked and the convenience of it all. And I think sometimes, obviously, like lots of games have fast travel, and if it's a big enough map, you'll be able to fast travel around. But when it's kind of like separate maps in a game, like kind of the linear pattern of going from one to the other, I think fast travel is not always the most convenient thing. And sometimes you can end up in places that you don't really know where you are because the fast travel is in a bit of a weird place. But I like that, I guess.
It was super convenient.
Yeah.
It was a real game changer for Borderlands.
Once they actually like kind of fixed it and put some more fast travels around. That,
you could just, especially as some of those areas were so big, and you could
the one that always sticks out is Athena, when like there was only one vending machine in the whole map at the beginning of the game.
You just had to run through the whole thing to get to where you needed to get. Far Cry 6 is really annoying for its fast travel because there's so many like. Annoying. Sometimes it just says fast travel is not available right now. Like,
why?
Sometimes it will say you're in combat. Like, no, I'm not.
With whom?
I'm not in combat. Like, you can't. No. My favorite one though is when you're trying to fast travel to a what's it called, like a base or an HQ or whatever, where your next story objective is, and it says
you can't travel to a mission location.
Oh, brilliant!
So,
but I've been there before. This is no.
You have to just fast travel nearby and then walk.
It's super. Oh, it's like, will it let us do it today? No. Great. Okay.
I don't like oversensitive. You can't fast travel in combat systems. Like, in Bethesda's RPGs as well, you get that where you're standing in the middle of nowhere and they say, there's monsters nearby. It's like, I'm not even in combat. And sometimes it'll say
a mud crab.
That you can't see, or it'll say you can't fast travel in combat. but you're not even aware you're in combat. It means that like someone over there has seen you. It should only like be like that if you have used your weapon or someone has used their weapon against you within the last like 15 seconds or like half a minute or something. If no one is actively swinging at you and you're not swinging at anyone else, it should just let you go.
Yeah,
I agree.
I also liked, and I know some people probably really didn't like it. In fact, I know people didn't like it. The crafting mechanic in the Last of Us games, I really liked the like crafting Molotovs and stuff, and the way that you found very limited amount of resource. Like there was only really a couple of things, but they could be used for loads of different things. Because I find that like sometimes when it's crafting in games similar to that, it's like all these really specific random things that you have to have a certain amount of. And it's not just like, you need 2 bandages and a bottle to make a Molotov. Here you go. That's for you. It's like, okay, well, you need this and this and this and this and this and this. And you're like, well, I don't know where all these things are. It's too difficult to find everything. I think Horizon does it okay, but I still think Horizon has too many things that you need to find for certain things. But I like the kind of simplistic crafting.
You can do it
mechanic.
in combat.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really, really good. Yeah.
I just think that worked. I just really liked that in the
totally
game. I
agree.
thought it was so convenient. And I do think sometimes they overcomplicate it for the sake of, I don't know, being complicated.
When they said that game had crafting in it, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, what's that going to be like? You know, how much like stuff am I going to have to find, and how different are the individual bits going to be?
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that basically there were like twice as many recipes as like types of thing. It was like each thing could be turned into like one of 2 things.
So you could either have like a Molotov or a first aid kit.
Yeah.
Because you needed the cloth for both.
Yeah.
Or, you could either have a nail bomb or, I don't know, I can't remember what the other thing was.
Yeah.
But, smoke bomb. But you had to pick which one you thought was going to be the most useful out of the crafting things that you picked up. And I just thought that was
worked
really
well.
clever.
It was really simple. And yeah, doing it in combat actually makes you feel quite clever. You know, you're like, you've been pinned down, you're like stuck in a corner, and you're like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do here? And then you think, I know. And you quickly just like throw something together. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought I like that mechanic, and I think that is a good mechanic to introduce in some games. So there we are. Ben.
Yes. I have written down a couple. The Nemesis system from Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor, which is a game that I didn't really like as much as everybody else seemed to like, but the Nemesis system was really clever. The fact that no one's tried to rip that off yet is astonishing. If you're unfamiliar with what it is, basically there's like all of these different enemies, they have like a hierarchy and they will remember you. So if you attack someone and you don't quite get the job done, it'll show them like slinking off, and then you'll encounter them again later and they'll call you out like, I remember you took my ear, or something like that.
Is
or
it kind of like, it's probably going to be done much worse in this game, but Watch Dogs Legion, if you killed someone, you might encounter someone who's like, you killed her sister in a car accident because you ran someone over.
Oh my God.
And then later on you see it and she's like, she hates you because you literally killed her brother. And you're like, oh, yeah,
it'll be a little bit like that, but the whole focus of this was taking down these commanders and these things. But
like
like that. So if you
it's
killed one of them, it'd be like, you stabbed my brother. I'm here to. But each time you encounter them, they get more powerful.
Yeah.
So if they beat you, they level up. And then
Right,
you
okay.
come back and they've got like, more armor on, and they move up the ranks and they've got more people around them and stuff. So it was a really cool idea and a really cool system that worked. My issue with it is that it all felt a bit auto-generated, which I suppose is kind of the point. But at the same time, it felt a bit like I could see behind the curtain as to how it all worked. It didn't really feel that immersive to me. I can't believe no one's tried to do this or
Well, I wonder if
improve on it.
if something like that might have some protection on it. Certain
Maybe.
So like the insanity mechanics of what's that one where, I mean, I know a few games have done this, but like it turns the volume down and stuff. What's it called? I want to say Alone in the Dark, but it's not that. Eternal Darkness.
This is a GameCube game, yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I can't remember.
I think it's called Eternal Darkness.
I think I did a list about that.
Yeah, it comes up in lists like semi-frequently because of this, these very clever insanity mechanics where your TV sort of changes channel, and they're trying to like make you as the player feel like you're going mad. And I believe people are always saying like, why isn't there more of that? I know there's like occasional like fake crashes like in Batman Arkham, but you don't really see that. And I'm sure I read somewhere that Nintendo actually owns the rights or like a sort of a trademark on doing something to that level.
It's crazy that they'd be allowed to trademark.
Well, I know, yeah,
because that's so vague and all-encompassing.
Well, I'm sure it will have been outlined in in a very specific way, but maybe like fourth wall breaking insanity mechanics. Apparently, they've got some kind of
if they have protected it, screw you, Nintendo, because that is such a waste.
Yeah,
that should be in every
not
horror
used
game.
it. Yeah,
because I think that's
so
clever.
Are you going to do that with Animal Crossing? Are you? Can you use it?
I'll Google it
Pokemon.
while we're
have a look. As far as I'm aware, it hasn't been copyrighted, but it is frequently cited as something that it's bonkers that it's not been used elsewhere. So I'd like to see that iterated on and improved upon. And I haven't played the most recent Lord of the Rings Shadow of games because, again, I didn't really like the first one. So it may well be better in those, but I think that should be more. Speaking of Batman Arkham Asylum, the free flow combat is so good. And while there have been imitators, and some have done it really well, like I think Spider-Man does it really well, there's still replaying through Arkham Asylum and City. I think this year has been a blur. I think I replayed them this year. It still feels so good and so right. And I love how it slows down for the last attack and really shows you in slow motion. You're just walloping someone. And it is a bit rubbish because they sort of go all limp and go, oh, and just sort of ragdoll down to the floor. But I love the free flow combat, and I think that's another one where I would love to see it continued in a future Rocksteady game. So maybe the Suicide Squad game is going to do a bit more of that. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, but that
It might.
They did it so well that I want to see more of exactly that. The last one I've got here, of course, is Jackanisms from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which is a mechanic that has never been in any other game before.
No.
A Jackanism exclusive to that specific game. It's quite a complex mechanic, isn't it?
It is.
Where when a button flashes up on screen, you have to press it. And no other game has done that.
No, I've never heard of that before.
But it's because no other games have a protagonist called Jack, do
they? No, I suppose not. They could have done them in BioShock.
Yeah.
They could have had Jackanisms in BioShock. Didn't do that.
No.
Complete waste.
There's not any in Dark Pictures either, which is, they could definitely use
Dark
those.
Pictures could have really used those pretty well.
A load of Jackanisms.
Yeah, I reckon.
Breaking news. On the 5th of November, 2021, 20 days ago at time of recording, Nintendo's patent on a sanity meter that, when it gets sufficiently low, affects gameplay by controlling game effects, audio effects, creating hallucinations, and the like, expired.
Ooh.
So there you go.
So so other developers could have done sanity mechanics, but without the meter stuff, is what I gather from that.
Well, it says, so it's a video game system incorporating a character's sanity level that's affected by occurrences in the game, such as encountering a game creature or a gruesome situation, right? Which then causes effects like your TV volume going down and things like that.
Right.
So you could
But
probably
only
do
in that
one or the other
specific
of the
chain
two.
of events.
Yeah.
So they could just put fourth wall breaking stuff in if they wanted, as long as it wasn't tied to
a sanity meter.
To a sanity
Or you could
mechanic.
probably put a sanity meter in, as long as it didn't then make, it
They
says
just
visual
didn't do
effects.
anything.
Yeah, it would make, if you had the screen going funny, then
Well, that's good. I still think every horror developer should put stuff in where it messes with the player, because why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Eject the disc. Screw with people, really mess them up. Really break them. That's what you should do. Well, it's time to move on. There's something a little odd.
Yeah.
It's called Weird News. It's weird news time. Time for some weird news. Read the producers, Ben. We are brought to you this week in weird news form by our wonderful podcast producers. Patreon.com/Team TripleJump. If you'd like to support us at a certain tier, you too can become a podcast producer. Get a shout out here.
You too can become a podcast
Oh my God.
producer. Wow.
I hope so.
Bono's
Bono.
in there. There's the
And
other
then
one.
the other ones.
The
I
Edge.
couldn't name
The
you a
Edge.
single YouTube. I didn't even know Bono was in YouTube.
Did you not?
No.
What did you
Bono,
think Bono did?
The
I
Edge.
just thought he was his own thing.
South Park. Bono from South Park.
No, I thought he was a singer. I didn't know he was in a band.
It's okay. It's okay, Ashton.
I appreciate that you sort of out yourself with these things. Actually, you could very quietly just be like, "Yeah, Bono."
Yeah,
but
Bono,
like,
Bono.
Sometimes
Just
I
Googling.
I go along with things, and then Ben will go, "Do you know what
Right,
that
right,
means?"
Ashton?
And I'll go, "No." But then
Hey,
because
it's an opportunity to learn,
I've gone
right?
along with it for a while, I just kind of I don't want to get everyone.
To be
think
fair,
I'm
the
doing
inverse
Wow.
does happen in the office constantly, where Ashton will sort of use a term or some sort of slang, and I will say, "What?"
slang.
Do you guys know
A
what
slang.
the word chuggy means?
Absolutely not. Is it a
Chuggy.
slur? What is that?
It's not a slur.
Okay.
It's basically this term that American Gen Zs use about American millennials when doing something very millennial, like pumpkin.
What is something really
like
what,
pumpkin
not being able
spice
to afford a
latte.
house?
Pumpkin spice lattes are considered chuggy, and like the snood
Chuggy.
scarf that goes all the way around, that's
Right.
chuggy apparently.
Right.
Wow. So millennials just
Thinking
getting
of-
it from both sides now,
Yeah.
huh?
I was thinking about this actually the other day when I saw the word on TikTok, and I thought that'd be a good word to just slip into conversation and see if
Chuggy.
you guys know what it means.
So it's like a cultural exchange.
Yeah.
The other
That's
day,
what we do.
a young person said to me, "Oh yeah," they were talking about a celebrity. They're like, "Oh, I don't like her. She's very pick me." I was like,
Oh, she's very
"What?"
pick me. She's a pick me girl.
She's a bit pick me. I was like, "Excuse me?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?" And it just
Did
means
they describe it to you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just sort of
They're like
dunno.
actively going out of their way to like be not like other girls.
be like interesting
or be
and
interesting to
Oh,
They
boys.
say
Contrarian.
like, "Oh, I can't get
Right.
on with girls. Like,
Oh,
all my
what was
friends are
that
boys."
face?
What was that word you just said?
Contrarian,
Contrarian.
Nah, that's
a
not.
little bit.
It's not a
But not-
millennial term. That's a fairly standard word.
I've never heard that
Generation
word
X.
before.
It's Gen X term.
Anyway, pick me. We've got some podcast producers.
Yeah, we certainly do. Kick us
Yeah.
off, Peter.
Matt Barger,
Sean Legg,
Trick 24.
Evan Breidenbach,
GY Goliath,
Ellie Nicholas.
Hutker 10,
Checkered Omega,
That seems like a new one.
It is a
Welcome,
new one.
Checkered Omega. Melody L. Burnett.
Harrison Kalnan,
Dylan,
Gabrielle Philippink.
Adam Dawson.
and Katie Jarrett.
Thank you so much,
Jarrett.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Patreon.com/Team TripleJump.
Yes.
Who's got question 3?
Well, I've got a weird news first. Oh, it went the other way.
What?
No.
Who's got questions?
For God's sake! I just scrolled to the next page. I was like, right, we've done that now. On to question 3.
Ashton,
Ashton,
you're gonna.
can you add another bit underneath the podcast producers?
Yes, but
so that-
weird news.
Remember to
Read the
read weird
producers.
news.
Remember to
then the
read-
producers, and
God.
then back to weird news. It needs to say. On
God, I'm going to need to set reminders on my phone. It's like taking medicine.
Right.
Don't forget to take your medicine, Ben.
I have got
Christ.
You're a mess.
a weird news here that was submitted by Jonathan Wong on, I think, Facebook. Remember, you can submit weird news to us on our social media. This is from Nintendo Life. It's written by Ryan Craddock, as in Fanny Craddock, I guess.
Who's Fanny Craddock,
Ashton
Ashton?
laughed at Fanny Craddock. I mean, that is a Generation X reference, Fanny Craddock.
I don't know who it is, but I just like the word fanny. That's
Yeah,
all.
it's a good word.
Everybody likes the word Fanny.
Random, I guess that's the category. Random.
Random.
This $10 Nintendo Switch eShop game has suddenly shot up to a whopping $250.
Okay.
Interesting.
Subtitle. But why? We're about
I
to
sure
find out
hope we find out soon.
with grandson of Fanny Craddock, Ryan Craddock.
Mm-hmm.
With all the Black Friday sales going on at the moment, our eyes have become well drilled in spotting great deals and discounts both at retail and on the Switch eShop. But we didn't expect to stumble across this.
Pretty chuggy, am I right?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
pretty cheeky, man.
Pretty chuggy. How do you spell it?
CHEUGY. Chuggy.
Chuggy. Ooh.
Chuggy.
Sounded like it would end
Love to
in
learn
an
the
IE.
etymology of that.
Yeah. Membrane, an excellent physics-based puzzle platform that launched on the eShop back in 2018, has gone in the complete opposite direction. Usually available for the very reasonable price of $9.99, the game is currently sitting on the eShop at a staggering $250. Seriously, here's a quick screenshot of how it currently appears on Nintendo's site. It's okay, Ryan, I believe you. There it is, membrane with this scary box art as well, or cover art.
It's spooky.
$250 available now. Buy digital. We're assuming and hoping that this is just a bizarre pricing error. Indeed, the game is still listed at its usual price point of £7.19 on the UK eShop. We've contacted the game's publisher, Perfect Hat Games, to clarify, and we'll update you if and when we hear back. For now, though...
Gee, I sure hope they've heard back.
Yeah, I know. For now, though, you might want to consider some more traditional Black Friday eShop deals, and there's a hyperlink to what I assume is another article by Nintendo Life. Ones where the price goes down, they say.
Yeah.
That's a good joke.
Up to $250.
Fantastic. They've thanked Rupee Clock for the tip. So I guess Rupee Clock got in touch and said, hey,
nice one, Rupee
this is
Clock.
happening right now.
I'm assuming it was meant to be discounted to $2.
£2.50.
Yeah,
$2.50,
I think.
Whoops.
They've accidentally
I hope someone
decimal
got fired
pointed.
for that blunder.
So just a short weird news from me there, but I thought it was pretty weird.
Hey, that's weird as flip, man.
Bit weird, yep. Ashton.
I have a news that's also from Facebook. It comes from Joach Dix on Facebook. It's from Gaming Bible and it's written by Imogen Meller. Sega is now selling Sonic the Hedgehog cologne.
Oh.
Now, don't get too excited.
Oh.
Whoa!
Have you ever woken up one morning and thought to yourself, I wonder what Sonic the Hedgehog smells like? Or perhaps in the darkest depths of night, you've woken up in a cold sweat knowing you'll never quite smell blue enough. Well, fear no longer, as your prayers have been answered with Sega's new line of colognes.
Meow.
Okay.
I understood it. I understood it.
Yeah, I did too.
Do you want me to explain?
No.
No? Okay.
It's from the movie trailer, Sonic movie.
Oh, I see. Sega announced on Twitter... Oh, because he's pretending to be a cat.
He says it in the...
I remember that moment now, yes. Thank you.
We'll call it up.
Sega announced on Twitter that it was going to be selling Yakuza, Shenmue, and Sonic the Hedgehog unisex cologne. Yes, you can smell like the blue blur if you really want. The 3 perfumes are already on the Sega shop for pre-order and cost $29.99 each. What a treat. And right in time for Christmas, right?
Right?
The Sonic the Hedgehog scent is described as on the website as having an aroma of fresh citrus, a zing of grapefruit zest, and exotic lemon and lime, topped with the scene of the ocean breeze and chilled melon fade. Maybe it's meant to be scent, but I think they spelled it wrong. Take pleasure in the rich bass tones of leather, suede, and cedar. Ugh, what a weird mix of things. That's my opinion. That's not what it said.
That's not what it said. Ugh. It's suddenly the writer has a realization. Hang on a minute. I've just written that out, and that actually sounds like it smells disgusting.
But why would you want leather, suede, and cedar, and also lime, and also melon, and also grapefruit?
I don't know.
Why would you buy a Sonic?
It's like you spilt your fruit salad on your sofa.
Yeah, we've all done that. Classic mistake.
They even claim that Sonic has improved it himself. If that's too fast for you, how about we slow down with the Yakuza scent instead? The site says, this fragrance flaunts a deep and mysterious scent of antique oak, cedarwood, beeswax infused with smoky bourbon, leathery rose, and
bacon.
scorching pimento.
That smells, I keep saying smells. Sounds like it smells all right.
Yeah,
I think.
sounds like it smells like every other male cologne. And then they just put delicious. And finally, the Shenmue edition's description says, enjoy this rich fragrance with top notes of clashing cardamom and bergamot. Bergamot,
yeah.
Smouldering golden tobacco, deep orris, and a strong patchouli base.
Of course.
Spicy.
I don't know what
That's
any
they
of
just
those
wrote.
words
No.
mean, apart from
base,
bergamot
yeah.
is a sort of citrusy smell.
Oh,
Big time
okay.
patchouli base.
Though I can't say I'm much in the market for a gaming perfume, I'm already sort of tempted to buy one of these for the fun of having it on my shelf. Now I think about it, I just want someone to tell me I smell nice, and then I can tell them I smell like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, fair enough.
Thank you, Imogen.
Fantastic.
Have you seen those compilations of people say, like the can you burn a Ouija board, a Luigi board? How do I get rid of my Ouija board?
Yeah.
There are ones of girls saying, "Oh, really miss him. The pillow still smells of his colon."
Oh.
There are loads
seen
of them.
this.
Just love the smell of my guy's
That's what I
colon.
like.
Ooh.
They kind of look quite nice.
I don't like the Sonic one, but the other two look very smart.
So there you go. You can get yourself a Sonic
The Yakuza one.
cologne.
Colon.
If you wish.
My weird news comes from Johnny Mac at Johnny Mac13 on Twitter. And this news story, once I get to it, is from Kotaku and Zach Zweisen. And the headline is, Rats sort of played Doom via VR.
Okay.
Okay. Did they though?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? I guess it was inevitable that once humanity got Doom running on everything, including cash registers, Twitter, and unreleased consoles, that we would have to seek out a new formidable challenge. Now that we've nearly done it all, it's not about how you play Doom, but who you get to play Doom. First up, apparently, some cute rats. As spotted by PC Gamer, neuroengineer Victor Toth has spent the past year tinkering with an odd question. Can you train rats to play Doom, the classic 90s FPS by id Software? After building a new VR-like system for the rats, creating an input method for them, and even designing a training program and rewarding system for them to partake in, Toth has sort of pulled it off. Kinda. Would you like to see them play it?
I
Yeah,
would
I'd
love
love to.
to see it.
Someone reposted on Twitter the other day Doom running on a pregnancy test. Have you seen that? It's got a little digital screen, and I mean, it's just
Like a
black
clear
and
blue
white,
one with
but-
a little digital screen.
Yeah. Oh my god! It's even got one of those treadmills. I mean, even a lot of human VR players don't have one of those.
So the rat's on a polystyrene ball.
Yeah.
Aw.
In
And
a
as it
harness,
walks.
just running through the level. Let me see if I can now successfully
It's kind
navigate
of cute, but
back
I
to the
hope it
article.
got cuddle afterwards.
Yeah, I hope it's okay.
I'm sure it's
Hope
okay.
it got some cheese.
Getting
Yeah,
treats.
cheese.
According to a blog post on Medium, Todd explains that after using a large monitor to create a pseudo VR-like experience for the rodents, he then began training 3 rats using automated methods with minimal intervention on his part. The main goal was to teach the rats how to make their way down a short corridor rendered in Doom 2, eventually reaching the end of the tiny level. So that's it.
Just
Just
walks
gotta
down
walk
the
forward.
corridor.
The small level does contain a single imp demon that can be killed, and Toth's weird rat Doom VR setup does offer a way for the rodents to blast the demon away via the in-game shotgun. But it turns out training the rats to shoot demons was tricky, and he lacked the time to actually reinforce the behavior.
You know how some people have like hobbies such as like going
Hey,
running
don't
or
hobby shame
playing
him.
basketball, maybe doing a jigsaw. Imagine if I came in and I was like, guys, I've got a new hobby. I'm teaching a rat to play Doom.
I think
I'd be
that'd be
impressed.
amazing. I'd say,
No,
can
you
you make
wouldn't.
a
I would
video
finally
No.
want to
please?
come round to your
You
flat.
wouldn't. I think you think I'd had a mental breakdown.
Yeah, maybe.
So how do rats play Doom? A good, if also a bit
So
strange
very
question.
rude. What you just said to me, very rude. I finally want to come round to your house.
Oh,
How
that
dare
took.
you?
Sorry, it took a while to get that reaction.
You are so sulky.
Done now.
If
got
I
nothing else
stopped
to say
talking
now.
every time you interrupted me, Ben, I would never talk.
Oh,
What the hell? Why did you have to turn it nuclear like that?
I'm
And
the
also,
one who
you're
just
having
said
a
that.
separate conversation with Peter while I'm trying to read something. That's different. Anyway, a rat got on a ball, and Ashton thinks his hobby is stupid. And Peter hates
the rat or
Ashton's
the
flat.
scientist.
Both.
His hobby.
They both hate
I'm
the
a
rat.
rat and I like playing Doom.
For God's sake.
Do you think we're going to need some kind of therapy, like couples, triples
it'll be
therapy at some
fine.
point?
Am I allowed to say it now?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can say it.
Who's got question 3?
Me.
Yes.
Don't know why that happens. Why doesn't it go to you? Is it because you introduce
It's because
the other bits?
Ben gets big discussion and does the other bits.
I do some reedy bits.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's an odd number of questions.
Just thought I'd
basically.
question that halfway through the podcast.
Hey, look,
recording.
everything's on the. We're
There's
an
an
hour
even
and
number
5
of
minutes
questions.
in.
There's an odd number of us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashton.
That's okay.
You are correct.
Stephen Norrie says, "Hi, Bap. Please be friends.
No.
As a slightly older chap than you fine peoples, my gaming youth was heavily influenced by magazines and specifically the demos and shareware that came with them. From my early Spectrum days with cover cassettes through to my PC gaming years with cover discs aplenty. He spelled discs with a K and a C. It was our choice which one we wanted to say. I said both.
I'd rather have one with a Q.
Yeah?
Discs.
With the decline of print media's importance in gaming, along with the shift to video/streaming for revealing gameplay footage, the demo appears to be dead. Not sure how to categorize things such as the Elden Ring network test. Is this something the gaming world really misses, or am I just pining after a relic from my past? Stephen, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Dunno, really. It's difficult to speak for the whole gaming sphere. I know that I liked demos back in the day, but I think that was partly just it was fun and exciting to have like a physical thing come with your magazine. Well, the magazine isn't physical, but you know, an extra thing that you can put into your console, have a little play, have a look at upcoming stuff. Whereas now, I guess having video content available, more readily available than you did back then, you know, that immediately gives you a bit of an idea about upcoming video games in a more useful way than perhaps just some screenshots and a write-up in a magazine would have done back, you know, some decades ago. And actually, a lot of those discs, sometimes they just came with video footage rather than, or in addition to gameplay. You know, sometimes it just be, you can't play this one, but you can look at some gameplay. Nowadays, though, yeah, we've got video and streaming more readily available, so we can see games in action a lot more easily. And also, this could very much just be me, how I feel. I know some people are, you know, always keen to play demos of games, but if there's a game that I'm interested in or looking forward to, if it's like above a certain threshold where I'm like, I am going to buy that game and I'm going to play it, I will actually avoid playing the demo because I want my first experience to be with the full game. I don't want to play the first level and then have to stop, or I don't want to play like a weird slice that they've made purely for demo purposes. Or maybe, in fact, actually, that's probably the difference. I wouldn't want to play something that's been taken from the game itself directly, like the first level, for example. But if a special experience was made for demo purposes, like Resident Evil have done for a couple of games now, I think that's a bit more interesting because it's not like you're getting an early little morsel of the game and then you've got to wait again. It's like, no, this has been made specifically for you as a player to try out. So speaking personally, I would be up for those interesting, specially made little vertical slices. But if demos as they were back in the days of Stephen, if they were
Neolithic era,
the Stephen Norrie lithic era, then I wouldn't play them. I don't think, not for anything I was actually already interested in. I wouldn't want to play a level from a game nowadays. I think it was something that appealed to me more as a child. And now it doesn't. But it's difficult to say how I think the gaming sphere as a whole feels about it. So maybe whatever we go with as a majority might be loosely indicative of what I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I never had a demo disc because I think even when I was growing up, even if I had a console, I don't think demo discs were still a thing when I was kind of old enough to appreciate them anyway. But so I have no real nostalgia towards them, but I've heard a lot about them and everyone says that they were great. But I mean, I wish more games did demos nowadays. I think that, like you say, it's much easier to see video, or a lot of outlets will get kind of early versions of the game, or as in they'll get sent it a couple of weeks before everyone else. And I think, you know, that is fine, but unless you know like how you, I think it's about how you play the game more than about how someone else plays the game. But I do wish more games did demos. I mean, the Resident Evil Village did kind of 1.5, didn't they? They did the kind of little teaser one that was like 10 minutes long, and then they gave you the second one they did where there was like 2 times that you could play for like an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Whereas Resi 7 had a more kind of custom made. It was quite similar to the opening of the game, but it was, I think it was different, where some people went to the house and had the videotape. I think it was a bit like that opening with the TV crew, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah, because a village obviously you didn't have the very beginning of the game, but you had the first bit in the village is the kind of bit you got. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. But again, I didn't realize at the time that it was literally like that was part of the game until I was playing the actual game. But not many games do demos. And I think it is a shame. Even like you're saying, if it's just like a purpose-built demo of how the game works and what kind of thing it looks like, I think that would work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think demos are missed. But I never had a demo disc, so it's not a nostalgia thing. It's just I would like them, please. Thank you. Ben.
Yeah, well, I mean, while Peter and I certainly didn't get Spectrum magazines, we did have magazines with demo discs in them growing up. And we've spoken before about our love for demo discs and physical magazines and things like that. Certainly, I think that sort of died out around the time the sort of PS3 and 360 launched because they had digital storefronts and that kind of removed the market. I've said before about how the DVD that came with my magazine of choice for PS3 had basically the installation files for the demos on them, and you just copied them onto your console and then installed them from there. So you weren't even able to play it from a disc like it was a regular game. It was basically just a storage device. But I think demos are great, and I do miss demos, and some platforms still have them. Switch has a lot of sort of trials and demo type stuff. I remember when I got our Switch, Snipper Clips, which is a really fun
that's a good
game, has like quite an extensive free trial on there, and a number of other ones as well.
And Steam lets you return a game.
Well, I've got that written down. Yeah, if you want to abuse the Steam refund system, you can play a game for a bit and then refund it. Last month, Sony did actually announce and do some game trials for some fairly big games. Death Stranding was one of them, where you could play it for like 5 hours and then return it. It's stuff that certainly, in my personal experience at least, that Sony has tried a number of times but have just sort of stopped doing for some reason or another. Like those game trials only ran until the end of October, and now they're done, so you can't do that anymore. PS4 has quite a lot of demos on it from what I've seen, nowhere near as much as sort of the previous gen. So yeah, it is all, demos are kind of dying off, and Stephen is right that a lot of the focus has shifted to YouTube and Twitch now, where while I still believe that playing is believing,
I agree.
Mutilate a phrase. The fact that you can now see so much of this stuff where, in seconds you can be watching gameplay of a game you're interested in, and that wasn't the case when magazines were around, or more prevalent. So that's definitely the way the industry has or the direction the industry has gone in. However, we do still get occasional kind of demo-y type things, as you said, with the Resident Evil one. Final Fantasy VII Remake got like the demo that I played at EGX was dropped suddenly on the PlayStation Store one morning, and I streamed that, and it's like, the opening boss fight and bombing mission or whatever that you can do. Betas are increasingly just demos in disguise. So they are still around in spirit, but yeah, it would be nice to have sort of a standard system for being able to test and try out a game before you buy it. But yeah, sadly, I don't know that it'll return.
When you'd go to like Game and there'd be like those controllers that are stuck to the wall, and then be a game that you could play for a bit.
Yeah, you don't see
I
those
used to love
anymore,
that, but
really?
never see those really anymore.
Last time I saw one was when the 3DS came out, perhaps, where you could try out the wonky 3D with Pilot Wings, I think. But yeah, well, there we are. It's time to move on to something kind of massive. It's called The Big Discussion. It's big discussion time for the big discussion. This week's big discussion comes courtesy of Callum's story. Callum says, "Hey Bap, after a year of smaller exclusives for the Series X/S, Microsoft are finally bringing out their big hitters, with Forza Horizon 5 already having 10 million players and Halo Infinite's campaign just weeks away. Whilst it is well-covered ground to say how fantastic it is that these games are on Game Pass from day one, it is also notable that those who don't have Game Pass can buy these games for £55. Assuming this trend continues with titles like Starfield, Fable, and Hellblade, is it going to become harder for Sony to justify their £70 price point for PS5 releases and retain their fan base solely on the strength of their exclusives? Thank you, Callum. Peeps, what do you think?
I think, like, ultimately, as with any business, if people keep buying it, then they're just going to carry on doing it, you know? I suppose that's the question, though, is will people keep on buying it? But I think ultimately it's sort of who blinks first. It's, you know, do Sony think like, oh, you know, do we need to like lower this price point, otherwise people will stop buying? Or do the consumers say, oh, Sony aren't lowering their price point, I'm going to stop, you know, I'm going to switch over. And, you know, I think also there's something to be said for people kind of make they make a move when a new platform comes out and they kind of say, this is where I'm going. Obviously, you can have both, or you can get rid of your console and like switch to the other if that's what you want to do. But, you know, it's been a year now. I know availability is still a bit of a tricky thing, but a lot of people, if they wanted a PS5, will have bought a PS5 now. And at that point, you've got a PS5. So you're probably going to just carry on buying the games, even if they are... Quiet phone. Even if they are about 70 quid, it might well be, you know, you might be sitting there as a PlayStation player thinking, oh, wish our games were 55 quid, but I kind of think most people would just carry on buying them. You know, the difference between 55 and 70, I mean, it's not to be sniffed at, like 15 quid, but at the same time, in the grand scheme of things, it's already like kind of feels a bit expensive. 55 quid is like, that's quite a lot of money. So
£4.50 for a medium popcorn or £5 for a large?
Yeah, exactly. And like it is about the strength of the exclusives, to be honest. Like I think that Sony continues to put out excellent exclusives. And yeah, Microsoft are definitely improving their game in that respect, I think, especially with some of their recent acquisitions and the fact that apparently Elder Scrolls is going to be exclusive to
Xbox and
PC. In terms of consoles and also PC. So Microsoft are definitely stepping up the game in terms of exclusives, but ultimately I still think PlayStation are winning that battle, and therefore if they want to charge a bit more for those and say, you know, I mean, they're not that it's a spelled out like this, but effectively say, we think these are like slightly higher quality games and they're 70 quid and that's how much they are, then I think that's justifiable at the moment. If Microsoft continues to do better and better and have exclusives that rival those of Sony, then perhaps there's a question to be asked. And as the question says here by Callum, we've talked before about how, you know, how brilliant Game Pass is, and that, you know, really PlayStation should try and move in and do their own similar move to rival that, because at the moment they don't have anything like that, anything anywhere as good as that. So that's something else that they could consider to increase the value of their product, broadly speaking. So it just comes down to whether people are going to keep paying 70 quid, and I think they sort of will for the time being.
Yeah, I think £70 is a lot for a game.
It is.
But I also think £55 is sometimes quite a lot for a game. And I think Game Pass is kind of dangerous for everyone, really. I think it's so good for the price. Like, it's £10 a month and you get the game that is £55 for someone who doesn't have Game Pass, and it's essentially free. Once you've played that game and maybe one other game, you've basically like quadrupled how much you've paid in terms of like the game. I don't really understand how they make money.
I don't know that they are.
No, it's just because they're Microsoft.
This is
Phil Spencer always very obviously words his responses to never say that it's profitable, just that it's sustainable, which is, you know, they're Microsoft. They've got all the money in the world.
Yeah,
So.
I think eventually like the price will go up, probably quite
I think it
substantially.
should, and they could justify it if they did. I don't think anyone would or should complain.
No, I don't think so.
Value-wise.
I think that maybe I don't know. I feel like it's dangerous for Sony a bit in terms of Game Pass, because if, like you say, Xbox keep acquiring the things they are acquiring, they will eventually have the exclusives that people want, and people will prefer not necessarily with all of the exclusives to just go for Xbox. So maybe they'll just get Xbox Game Pass, or they'll buy themselves an Xbox where the games are slightly cheaper, which, I mean, £15 isn't a lot, but for some people it's quite a significant amount. So it's, I think maybe they're waiting to see if Xbox will put their prices up to see if they'll match with PlayStation, but why would they? If they can get away with selling it at £55, why would they bother going up to kind of make the profit that Sony are making on it? I think £70 is too expensive, but I don't think, like you say, there's anything that we can do about it unless we just all collectively decide to stop buying Sony games that are £70. But we're all guilty of it. I mean, I bought Ratchet and Clank was 60 quid, if not more, I think. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but like, that's 60 quid. That's, in my mind, I was like, oh, it's only 60 quid.
Yeah.
Whatever. But in a couple, next year or something, it'll probably be down to like 30 quid. So it's whether, you can justify spending that now because you need it, or if you just wait till it maybe goes down in price a bit. But
it's easy as well to,
so expensive.
It's easy to kind of think back and say, oh man, I used to only buy games for like 20 quid when I had a PlayStation. But like, that's an inflation issue as much as anything else. If you, I've seen like pictures of old Argos catalogs that have like Nintendo, like Donkey Kong and stuff in there. And it says like, oh, $8 or whatever, maybe a bit more. But if you adjust for inflation, it's no more, it's no cheaper than it is now, roughly speaking. Yeah.
I used to never buy games unless they were in like CEX or like secondhand. We'd go to CEX and just get a couple of games because they were the price of like one brand new game.
And that's still going to be a valid option.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people do. But yeah, I agree. £70 is a lot, and they're getting more and more difficult for them to justify it, I think, in terms of the grand industry scale of it, I think.
Or it's getting more difficult for Xbox to justify the lower price that they've got. That might be the way it goes, rather than PlayStation bringing it down. It might go the other way.
Rather than PlayStation waiting for us to blink, they're waiting for Xbox to blink and just come up to their price point. Yeah. What do you think, Ben?
Well, in terms of inflation, games in the UK have been 55, 60 quid for a very long time. And I think a lot of the justification for Sony putting the prices up with it's time to do that. Games are getting more and more expensive to make. Our first party output is second to none. And so why not? This is how much games on PS5 will cost now. And a lot of people don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want to spend any more money than I have to. And I think it's only 2K that have matched them so far on that front. Everybody else has said, no, we're going to keep our games at the same price. It's a matter of time, though. All those other studios those game prices will go up. I understand why Xbox is keeping theirs down, because the parity between the last gen and the current gen is far more significant to their whole strategy than it is on PS4 and PS5, where while there are games coming out for PS5 and PS4 for the foreseeable, exclusives included, there was a great deal of the portion of Xbox's marketing for the next gen was that, all these games are going to be on both. You put it in here, it's the better place to play it, but you can still play them here and that'll be fine too. Honestly, in terms of the question of, is it harder to justify, or what's going on with Game Pass and so on, it's a tricky thing because we're in sort of an uncharted space right now. It's not like Xbox doesn't have Game Pass and their games are £55, whereas Sony doesn't have Game Pass and their games are £70. It's Xbox's games are £55 and they have this incredible value subscription service as well. There's all sorts of factors that tie into it. The cost of Game Pass is going to go up at some point. Yeah. It can't not, especially when, as Callum said, the heavy hitters have started coming. And oh boy, they're not going to stop coming. And it's going to reach a point where they truly can justify putting the price up. And they will. They absolutely will.
It still baffles me that games that are 60 quid £50 on Steam are suddenly on Game Pass for like, you know, the £10 subscription. Like Evil Genius 2 World Domination, I think is still at £40, if not £45 on Steam, but coming to Xbox Game Pass literally next week.
If you think how many games, you know, brand new games you could feasibly get through in a month, you know, if you're the kind of person who sits down and plays games every night, in 4.5 weeks, you could maybe play 2 to 3 reasonable sized games that have just come out. That's, you know, it could be 150 quid to buy them on PlayStation or on Steam, and it's £10 to play through those games on Game Pass if they're available. You know, in a month, which is wild.
Yeah, and even the games that aren't necessarily, you know, free on Game Pass has still got discounts on them when you have Game Pass.
Yeah.
So games are still cheaper to buy through Microsoft, but most of the time people just don't bother. Wait till it comes on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, not at all. It's all relevant conversation. I was just thinking about my next point. That's all.
Okay.
You're doing okay, Ashton. It's all right.
Okay.
We're good.
Thanks.
Wow, I feel like maybe we're not good. There's something
No, we're
strange
good.
happening. Okay, are we?
Yeah.
I don't feel safe, Peter. I don't feel safe in the studio.
I feel the least safe of the three. I think just watching that, I don't know what to say.
I also cannot believe that Game Pass is remotely profitable because it simply cannot be. So there's a admittedly very small chance that someone higher up in the Microsoft hierarchy just says, no, stop that, and they just pull the plug on it. It's unlikely, could happen. Sony is supposedly working on an answer to Game Pass. PlayStation Now has been increasingly better and better value, but it's got a really, really bad image issue, and they need to sort that out if that is going to be their answer to Game Pass. But if they do a fully fledged answer to Game Pass, how will that affect game prices? How will that affect Game Pass? I honestly don't know, because you would have to imagine, as you said, Ashton, that a lot of third-party publishers would be terrified of Game Pass.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to make nearly as much money from taking a lump sum from Xbox or whatever the deal is that they take to get their games on Game Pass than they would actually selling their games. So you would have thought that they would want to back the platform that doesn't do the Game Pass subscription because they actually are going to sell our games perhaps way more, because
For money.
Xbox's user base, and this will become an issue as the years go by, are being increasingly, and again, I'm not criticizing anyone who uses Game Pass because it's flipping amazing, but that user base is being conditioned to never buy a game again.
Yeah.
So why would they buy anything ever? You don't need to. And so publishers are going to look at that and think, I don't know if we want to maybe put our game on that platform when no one's going to buy it.
It is bad the amount of times I'll look at something on Steam and go, it'll come to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't need to pay
it's
for
a
it
very
right now.
real
It'll come to Game Pass.
mentality that's being fostered. And again, there's nothing wrong with anyone having that, because money is money and you should pay for what you want. And Game Pass is phenomenal value. But there's a lot of factors that tie into this conversation.
I wonder how much, I mean, it probably varies just game to game, like quality-wise and potential audience. But I wonder how much Microsoft pays a third-party studio to say, can we put your game on Game Pass? Obviously, you're not going to make any money from the sales if it's one of the free games, but, you know, we will pay you a lump sum. Because surely that studio has to do the maths and say, well, we're projecting that we're going to sell X thousand copies. Are you going to make that worth our while? Like, the exchange of money must be like, for a decent quality game with a potentially very large audience, must be pretty huge if it's going to be for free on Game Pass.
Yep. And the same question applies to games with Gold and PlayStation Plus freebies as well. What is the financial compensation there? And will anyone who doesn't have Game Pass buy it? Because yes, these games are available for £55, but are you going to sell any of them? Is anybody going to want to buy them? I don't know that many people will. Finally, talking again about Sony and their pricing, this was something that Sean Layden, the former head of PlayStation, spoke quite openly about after he seemingly was sort of ousted when there was kind of a shuffle around at the top. Now they've got Jim Ryan, who's extremely popular with PlayStation fans.
Local boy.
Sean, Geordie's own. Geordie's own. That's the
Yeah.
phrase, isn't it? Newcastle's own Jim Ryan. Sean Layden spoke quite openly about the fact that the cost of making games is ballooning so much that publishers and specifically Sony need to focus once again on making smaller experiences. Things like Miles Morales, which will never stop singing the praises about here at TripleJump, because it was a fantastic game. It was like a really, duration-wise, it was perfect. And it was a reduced cost game as well. Like it wasn't a full £70 game. Make more of those.
Imagine if
They're
Spider-Man,
perfect.
the actual Marvel Spider-Man had just never come out, and then they said, "Hey, we're doing Spider-Man. Here it is. It's about Miles Morales. This is it." I think a lot of people would have said, maybe a little bit short, but that was amazing. Just that was a game.
Yeah.
You know, didn't even feel that much like a sort of a pared back experience, I don't think. So even though we know that it was comparatively.
Well, I mean, Guardians wasn't very long, really.
Yeah. It was about 20 hours?
Yeah.
Thereabouts? Yeah.
But
So
it didn't feel like
yeah.
a huge game. But
And that
maybe
one
that's because it was more
wasn't
linear.
70
Yeah, they could do more Miles Morales style stuff, and it just feels like, you know, it's just a game, a full game in that sense.
I'd love it. Kana.
Yeah, I was going to say Kana.
Yeah.
Perfect. Games don't need to be crazy long.
No.
It's sort of an arms race currently, not only in terms of development, but in terms of the subscription versus game price thing. Who is, as you say, who's going to blink first? Ultimately, the winners will be us, the people who play games, because
Or we'll be the losers because they'll all put their prices up.
everyone might put their prices
we'll
up.
all lose.
Prices might all go down, but competition is
It's
good.
a good thing,
and you know, no matter where you play, there's good stuff everywhere at the moment, and that's really promising. I don't know what the end result of this is going to be, but someone has to do something, and we will just have to wait and see who that is. Maybe Atari's new system could be the one.
Soldier Boy.
Just the Soldier Boy console.
Soldier Boy.
I own
I
Atari.
own Atari.
I am the
own
owner
it.
of Atari.
I've got a contract. I've signed a contract that
I own
says
Atari.
Oh, God. Anyway, we talked about all sorts of things today. If you'd like to get involved and let us know what you think about them, you can do that in a manner of places.
we are on youtube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump. It's where our videos go on YouTube and our streams on both. When we're streaming on both, we're modded by Lord Brotovich, Trowling Badger, and Mr. Black. And hey, talking to Twitch, did you know that part of the Amazon Prime bundle is that you get a Twitch sub with it? So you can spend that on us and we'll benefit and you'll benefit, and something about Jeff Bezos. Twitter.com and Facebook.com/Team TripleJump are where our social media presences are. You can get video and live stream announcements and things like that on Twitter, legacy video content and occasional live chats on Facebook. Thank you to Fraser for looking after our social media. And patreon.com/Team TripleJump is where you can go to obviously check out our Patreon and look at all the tiers and all the many rewards, such as early little viewings of worst and weirdest games ever's.
We also have a website. It's triplejerk.mp. That's triplejut.mp. And if you want to join our Discord, where all of our lovely community are, you can go to triplejerk.mp/Discord. When we're on Discord, we're modded by Jack, Joe, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. And if they tell you to do something, do it.
Do it.
If you want to listen to our podcast, maybe you've been watching it on YouTube, but maybe you've got a hospital appointment that you have to go to tomorrow and you have to sit there waiting for a really long time and you want to maybe listen to something while you're there, then why not check out our podcast on all of the other platforms by going to triplejet.mp/podcast. If you've missed any of our VODs, live streams, and you want to check out the VODs, because there's lots of live streams a week, you can go to triplejet.mp/VODs. That's VODS. And if you want some sick and cool merchies,
Can't get this one anymore.
you can get this one though. You can't get that one, but you can get this
one.
one. You can go to triplejumpshop.com. New merch coming very soon.
Real soon.
Very
Yeah,
soon.
exciting.
And for that merch announcement, you go to Triple Jump Shop on Twitter.
Also, you've all just missed it, but we were giving away 10 Triple Jump shirts. I hope you saw it on Twitter and Facebook and entered, because We started the competition after we recorded last week's podcast, and it ended yesterday.
Sorry.
So there we are. If you want to follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter, you can do at that Peter Austin and at Scrambled Ashton, and myself just on Twitter at confused_dude. We do lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday being the joint stream on YouTube.
Blaze it.
The other weekdays being solo streams on Twitch. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly, Friday for patrons of a certain tier, Sunday for everyone else. We do the podcast every Saturday, and we do shows all the flipping time. Just keep your eye on the channel, basically.
Yeah.
Why not leave a review on iTunes or your platform of choice? 5 stars, please. We'd really appreciate it. It helps something to do with Al Gore's rhythms. And facebook.com/Team TripleJump. Please go and give us a follow.
Yes.
We'd really appreciate it. You'd be doing us a huge favor. So thank you in advance. It's a Worst Games Ever week, Peter.
It is.
Was this edited by you this week?
It was.
Oh,
I've not finished it yet. Time recording, but James Jenkins has been a little sickly boy.
tiny sickly boy.
Tiny sickly boy who was off for a couple of days, really. Bless him. Hope he's feeling better now. But Worst Games Ever went out on Friday for patrons of the $5 tier. Sunday for everyone else. That's tomorrow at time of release of this podcast. And we've also got a ranked list coming out, haven't we, Ben?
Yes, I was drinking.
That's okay. I would have asked Ashton, but it was done before she was a list presenter. So
What does it matter? She's not in any of the new ones
Yeah,
either.
I'm not in any of the
Actually,
new ones.
yeah,
I've
she
not
did
even
the
been
ranks.
asked.
Yeah.
Capcom ranked. We're ranking every
They were like, no.
Capcom franchise. Hey, look, listen, two's a crowd,
You're not
as
good
they
enough
say.
yet.
And Peter and I are
Two is
You
a crowd.
suck.
two is a crowd.
Yeah.
Capcom franchises, we're ranking them all from worst to best. Your Castlevanias, your Metal.
The rest.
No, that's Konami. Your
I
Castle.
get them mixed up a lot.
No, yeah, I just did Castlevania's Konami as well. Sorry.
Capcom did Resident Evil.
I was gonna say
Your
Resident Evil,
Resident
but-
Evils, your Street Fighters. Yeah.
Yeah. Capcom,
God, in my
what
head,
else?
I read Capcom and I thought, oh yeah, the Metal Gear Solid. No, what are
No.
you doing? What's wrong with you?
You did this list as well.
There's also this was a long time
I
ago.
know.
To be
Dino
fair.
It was-
Crisis.
Dino Crisis.
one.
Were there 3?
Yes.
Our definition of a franchise is a series of games that has at least 3 entries. Otherwise, it's just as Philip
Well, since there's
frequently
gonna
says.
be only
Otherwise,
3
it's just
entries in
a
the,
game and a
list.
sequel.
Two's a crowd, as they say.
2 is a crowd.
Yeah.
So go check that out and see if your favorite franchise from Konami is on there.
Are we a franchise now?
Yes.
There's 3 of
We
us.
are. We are. We were a franchise
Bad.
before, but then one stayed in Bristol, and then we became a game and a sequel once again.
Yes.
So there we are. Go give that a watch. I assume that's when is that? Friday? Was it going out on Friday?
yeah.
Yes.
So that'll be out right now, so you can get really, really furious in the comments. Please be excited for our gigantic ranked list that's going out on New Year's Day,
Also not in that.
which is something of a tradition.
Be glad, Ashton, that you're not in that, because that was a
No,
pain
I
in the
know.
ass
I
to
know.
record.
Not actually that jealous.
It was it's by far our longest year, boys. So we hope you all get good and drunk on New Year's Eve, and on New Year's Day there'll be a gigantic list for you to just sort of disassociate and watch on your television.
Every video game ranked from worst to best.
We've done every console, we've done every handheld. This year we're doing
Every video
every
game.
something else. So get ready, Peter. Just enough time to hear this week's phenomenal sponsor.
Yeah.
and then we're gonna go.
Oh, no. Oh, how am I going to have enough meat to put in my broth? Don't worry. There's a huge, huge cow farm. Cattle field plenty for ye, Stu. Coming soon. By who makes Battlefield again? EA, that's
Dice.
right. Dice, yes.
Maybe
Oh,
you
that
could dice your.
you could
meat.
dice it, and you could keep it cool in the freezer with that frostbite engine.
Yeah.
Yum yum.
Additional spices, $2.99. Thank you very much for listening / watching. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.